Welcome back to Casa Verde Diaries, the place where we grow with purpose, learn with joy, and prove every single season that a beautiful, productive garden does not have to be complicated. Now, I want to say something a little controversial right at the start, and I genuinely want to hear your thoughts on this in the comments. Ready? Here it is. I do not think most struggling gardeners have a skill problem. I think they have a plant selection problem. And nobody is telling them that early enough. Think about it. You water faithfully. You fertilize. You watch every video you can find. And still something yellows, something wilts, something just gives up completely. Meanwhile, the weeds? Oh, the weeds are absolutely thriving. And that, honestly, is a little offensive. But here is what I have come to understand after years of getting my hands in this soil. Some vegetables simply do not want to cooperate, and some practically grow themselves. Today at Casa Verde Diaries, I am handing you the shortcut I wish someone had given me on day one. 20 vegetables so forgiving, so productive, and so genuinely easygoing that even the busiest, most self-proclaimed lazy gardener walks away with a real and satisfying harvest. And please, stay with me all the way to number 16. Surprises almost everybody. Plus, I have a bonus tip at the very end that experienced gardeners tend to guard like a precious secret. You do not want to miss it. Let us dig in. Starting this list strong with number 1. Zucchini. And if you have ever struggled to grow anything at all, zucchini is the vegetable that will restore your confidence and your faith in gardening completely. This plant does not just grow, produces aggressively. Plant it once, give it sunshine and decent drainage, and within 45 to 55 days you will be harvesting so much zucchini that you will be quietly leaving bags of it on your neighbors' front porches. And they will stop answering the door. That is not an exaggeration. That is a gardening tradition. Direct sow the seeds about an inch deep in warm soil right after your last frost date. Full sun. Water consistently at the base, not overhead, because overhead watering invites powdery mildew on those big beautiful leaves. Then honestly, just get out of its way. Varieties like Black Beauty and Costa Romanesco are widely available, and both are wonderfully reliable. Zucchini grows well in USDA zones 3 through 11, tolerates a wide range of soil conditions, and 1 or 2 plants is genuinely enough for most families. Harvest when the fruits reach 6 to 8 inches for the best flavor. Leave them too long and you will end up with something closer to a baseball bat than a vegetable. If you want easy, this is where easy begins. Number 2 is green beans. And these might be the most satisfying beginner crop on this entire list because they move from seed to harvest without ever making you work particularly hard. No indoor starting needed. Just push seeds about an inch into the ground after your last frost, water them in, and wait. They germinate in 7 to 10 days. Bush varieties start producing in about 50 to 60 days, and pole varieties take a little longer but reward your patience with a much longer harvest window. Here is what makes green beans genuinely special though. They fix nitrogen in the soil while they grow. That means they are actively improving your garden while they feed you. No other crop on this list does that quite as beautifully. Varieties like Blue Lake, Provider, and Contender are reliable, widely available, and handle a range of conditions without complaint. They thrive in USDA zones 3 through 10 and prefer full sun but will manage in partial shade. Keep them picked regularly and they will keep pushing out new pods all season long. Stop picking and the plant thinks its job is done. So stay on top of it and green beans will keep coming. Number 3 is radishes. And this one is especially for the impatient gardeners among us, which honestly, let us be real, is most of us. Radishes go from seed to harvest in as little as 20 to 25 days. Less than a month. While your other seeds are still figuring themselves out underground, you will already be eating something you grew from scratch with your own 2 hands. And that kind of quick win does something powerful to you. It builds momentum. It builds confidence. And it makes you want to keep going. Sow them half an inch deep, an inch apart, keep the soil moist, and do not overthink it. They love cooler weather and do beautifully in USDA zones 2 through 10, making them perfect for early spring and again in fall. Cherry Belle is your classic round red variety. French breakfast gives you an elegant elongated shape with a slightly milder flavor. White Icicle is crisp and wonderfully clean tasting. Succession plant every 2 weeks and you will have fresh radishes streaming out of your garden through the entire cool season. If you have never grown a single thing in your life and you just need proof that you actually can do this, start right here. Plant radishes this week. In less than a month, pull one out of the ground and eat it. That single moment will change how you see yourself as a gardener forever. Number 4 is lettuce. And what makes lettuce so brilliant for beginners is that you do not even need to wait for the whole plant to mature before you start eating from it. It is what gardeners call a cut and come again crop. You harvest the outer leaves while the center keeps pushing out brand new growth. Scatter seeds across the surface of moist soil, press them down lightly, keep them damp, and do not bury them. Lettuce seeds actually need light to germinate properly. They sprout in 4 to 10 days and you can start snipping baby leaves in as little as 3 weeks. Lettuce loves cool weather and handles partial shade better than almost any other vegetable, making it perfect for those awkward spots in your garden that other crops would simply reject. Varieties like Red Sails, Black-Seeded Simpson, and Buttercrunch are forgiving and fast. You can grow lettuce in garden beds, containers, window boxes, or even a tray right on your kitchen counter. Consistent moisture and cool temperatures are really all it needs. Grow it in spring and again in fall and you will have fresh salads for months without buying a single bag from the store. Number 5 is cherry tomatoes. And if you have ever tried growing full-size tomatoes and watched them crack, split, wilt, or get hit with blight, cherry tomatoes are going to feel like a breath of the freshest air. These small-fruited varieties are tougher, more disease-resistant, more heat-tolerant, and far more forgiving of inconsistent watering than their larger cousins. They produce like absolute champions and they start early. Plant transplants outside after your last frost in a full sun location. Give them a sturdy cage or stake because they will grow taller than you expect. Varieties like Sweet Million, Sun Gold, and Super Sweet 100 are outstanding performers, producing ripe fruit in about 55 to 70 days from transplant and just keep going right up until the first frost knocks them back. Water at the base. Give them a tomato fertilizer every couple of weeks once they start flowering, and harvest constantly. The more you pick, the more they produce. That is not just gardening advice. That is practically a law of nature with cherry tomatoes. Some varieties will even drop seeds and self-sow the following year, giving you free plants without you lifting a finger. Now, if that is not lazy gardener friendly, I genuinely do not know what is. Number 6 is cucumbers. There is something deeply satisfying about growing your own cucumbers. Maybe it is because fresh off the vine they taste absolutely nothing like the ones sitting in plastic wrap at the grocery store. Direct sow seeds about an inch deep in warm soil after frost. Give them full sun and something to climb. Water them consistently, and cucumbers will produce all summer long. They germinate in 5 to 10 days and most varieties are ready to harvest in 50 to 65 days. Growing them vertically on a trellis is a genuine game changer. It saves space, improves airflow, and makes harvesting so much easier. Bush varieties like Spacemaster work perfectly in containers and smaller gardens. Vining types like Marketmore and Straight 8 produce heavier yields when given room to climb. Consistent moisture is the most important thing, especially once the fruits start forming. Mulch around the base to hold that moisture in and cut down on weeds. Harvest often at 6 to 8 inches and the plant will just keep on performing beautifully for you. Number 7 is Swiss chard. And I want to make a genuine case for this one because it does not get nearly the appreciation it deserves. Swiss chard is tough. Not just garden tough. Genuinely rugged. It handles heat, cold, poor soil, and inconsistent watering better than almost anything else you can plant. Sow seeds half an inch deep. Thin the seedlings to about 6 inches apart, and harvest outer leaves as needed. The center keeps pushing out gorgeous new growth for months and months. Bright Lights is a stunning variety with rainbow-colored stems that honestly looks beautiful enough to grow in a flower bed. Ford Hook Giant gives you thick white stems and deep, rich green leaves. You can start harvesting baby leaves in about 30 days and full-sized leaves in 50 to 60 days. Swiss Chard rarely bolts, laughs at light frosts, and bounces back strongly after heavy harvesting. It grows in USDA zones 3 through 10 and tolerates both full sun and partial shade. If you want one vegetable that just keeps on giving without asking for much in return, Swiss Chard is absolutely that plant. Number 8 is kale. Now, say what you want about kale as a food trend, and I know many of you have opinions about that. Drop them in the comments, by the way. But as a garden plant, kale is almost impossible to kill. It handles temperatures down to around 10 degrees Fahrenheit and actually gets sweeter and more flavorful after a frost. Sow seeds a 1/4 inch deep, thin them to 12 to 18 inches apart, and let it do its thing. Kale thrives in USDA zones 2 through 9 and grows best in cooler weather, though many varieties push through summer heat without too much drama. Lacinato kale, also called dinosaur kale, has gorgeous dark bumpy leaves with a rich nutty flavor. Red Russian is tender, slightly sweet, and works beautifully raw in salads. Like Swiss Chard, kale is a cut and come again crop. Harvest the lower leaves first, leave the center growing point alone, and the plant keeps producing fresh leaves for months. A single kale plant can feed you from spring straight through late fall. In mild winter climates, it does not even stop. Number 9 is peas. And there is something almost childlike and joyful about growing peas. Maybe it is the vines climbing their little trellis. Maybe it is snapping a pod right off the plant and eating it warm right there in the garden. Either way, peas deliver one of the most rewarding harvests for the amount of effort they ask of you. They are a cool season crop, so plant them in early spring as soon as the soil is workable, even if frost is still possible. Peas handle cold soil and light freezes without blinking. Sow seeds about 1 inch deep and 2 inches apart. Give them something to climb, even a simple run of twine between 2 stakes. Keep the soil moist, and they will germinate in 7 to 14 days. Sugar Snap and Super Sugar Snap are outstanding varieties with sweet edible pods you do not even need to shell. Oregon Sugar Pod is a reliable snow pea. Like green beans, peas fix nitrogen in the soil, making them genuinely good for the long-term health of your garden. The harvest season is short, about 3 to 4 weeks, but it is one of the most satisfying stretches in the entire gardening calendar. Number 10 is potatoes. And before you assume this one is complicated, let me ask you something. Have you ever forgotten a potato in your pantry and found it sprouting on its own weeks later? That right there tells you everything you need to know about this plant. It wants to grow. Cut a sprouted potato into chunks with 1 or 2 eyes each. Let them dry for a day. Plant 4 inches deep in loose soil and mound the earth around the stems as they grow. That mounding process, called hilling, is really the only thing that makes potatoes any different from anything else on this list. Yukon Gold, Red Pontiac, and Kennebec are all reliable, all delicious, and all ready in 70 to 120 days. No garden space? Grow them in a bag or a bucket. And when harvest day comes, pulling potatoes out of the ground never, ever gets old. 1 seed piece gives you 5 to 10 potatoes. That trade-off is genuinely hard to beat. Alright friends, we are right in the middle of this list. And if you are enjoying this and finding it helpful, take just a second and hit that subscribe button right now. Here at Casa Verde Diaries, we put out this kind of content every single week, and I would hate for you to miss what is coming next. Now let us keep going because the second half of this list has some real surprises in it. Number 11 is garlic. And honestly, it might be the most effortless crop in all of home gardening. Push individual cloves 2 inches deep in the fall, pointed end up, a few weeks before the first hard frost. Then just walk away. Garlic overwinters in the ground, quietly wakes up in spring, and is ready to harvest by midsummer without you doing very much of anything in between. Every single clove becomes a full bulb of 8 to 12 new cloves. Plant enough and you may never buy garlic from a store again. Soft-neck varieties store beautifully for months. Hard-neck varieties give you scapes in spring. Those curly green shoots are absolutely incredible in pesto and stir-fries, and most people have no idea they are even edible. Light fertilizer in early spring. Consistent water through the season. Stop watering when the lower leaves brown. Harvest, cure for 2 weeks, and done. It genuinely does not get more hands-off than this. Number 12 is sweet potatoes. And before you scroll past this one thinking it is too complicated, please hear me out. All you need to start is a sweet potato from the grocery store and a jar of water. Suspend the potato over the jar using toothpicks with the bottom half submerged. Set it in a warm, bright window, and wait for leafy sprouts called slips to grow from the top. Once those slips are about 6 inches long, twist them off, root them in water, and plant them out in the garden after your last frost. Sweet potatoes love heat and full sun, doing best in USDA zones 8 through 11, though northern gardeners can get excellent results with black plastic mulch and an early indoor start. Plant slips 12 to 18 inches apart in loose sandy soil and then honestly, leave them alone. The sprawling vines even suppress weeds as they spread, doing some of the work for you. Beauregard is a popular, reliable variety that performs consistently. One store-bought sweet potato can produce a dozen slips. That is a full season's worth of plants for essentially zero cost. Number 13 is peppers. And once they are established, peppers are remarkably low-drama plants. Start transplants from a nursery or grow your own from seed indoors about 8 to 10 weeks before your last frost. Once nighttime temperatures are reliably above 55 degrees Fahrenheit, move them outside into full sun with well-draining soil. Most varieties produce fruit in 60 to 90 days from transplant and keep going right up until frost. Bell peppers like California Wonder are classic and reliable. But if you want something that asks almost nothing of you and produces heavily all season long, hot peppers are where it is truly at. Jalapenos, serranos, and cayenne are practically indestructible. Light feeding when they start flowering, consistent but not excessive watering, regular harvesting. That is the whole plan. Peppers actually produce better with slightly less water once the fruit is setting. So do not overdo it. Harvest regularly to keep the plant producing and you will have more than you know what to do with. Number 14 is the one most gardeners completely sleep on. And I genuinely cannot understand why. Beets. People assume they are difficult and just move right past them. They are not difficult at all. Sow seeds 1/2 inch deep and 2 inches apart. Thin the seedlings to 3 or 4 inches once they come up, and that is honestly most of the work. They germinate in 7 to 14 days and most varieties are harvest ready in 50 to 70 days. What makes beets truly special is that you get 2 crops from one single plant. The root and the greens. Both edible. Both genuinely delicious. Sauté those greens with a little garlic and olive oil before the roots are even close to ready, and you will wonder why you waited so long to grow these. Detroit Dark Red is the classic variety. Golden beets are milder and far less messy. Kyoja beets have a stunning candy-striped interior that looks almost too pretty to eat. They grow well in USDA zones 2 through 10, handle partial shade beautifully, and need very little beyond consistent watering. Plant in spring and again in late summer and you get 2 full harvests a year from the same bed. Number 15 is spinach. Like radishes and lettuce, spinach is a fast-growing cool season crop that moves quickly and quietly. Sow seeds 1/2 inch deep in early spring or late summer. Keep the soil moist, and you can start harvesting baby leaves in as little as 20 to 30 days. Full-sized leaves are ready in about 40 to 50 days. Spinach grows well in USDA zones 2 through 9 and actually prefers partial shade in warmer climates, making it perfect for those garden spots that other vegetables would find too dark. Bloomsdale long-standing resists bolting longer than most varieties, which is important for getting maximum production before summer heat arrives. Space is a smooth-leafed variety that is excellent raw in salads. Time your plantings for spring and fall, avoid the heat of summer, and spinach will basically take care of itself. And here we are at number 16, the one that surprises almost everyone. Basil. Now, technically it is an herb, yes, but it grows and produces like a vegetable and honestly outperforms half the things on this list in terms of sheer seasonal output. Direct sow seeds or plant transplants after frost in a sunny spot. Seeds germinate in 5 to 10 days and you are harvesting leaves within 3 to 4 weeks. It loves heat and full sun and does well in USDA zones 2 through 11 through the warm months. Genovese is your classic big leaf variety. Absolutely incredible for pesto and fresh tomato dishes. Thai basil opens up a completely different world in the kitchen. Now here is the one thing you must know to keep it producing all season. Pinch the growing tips regularly. That single habit forces the plant to bush out and keep producing instead of rushing to flower and going bitter. One well-managed basil plant will give you more than you know what to do with from spring all the way through fall. I told you number 16 would surprise you. Did it? Drop a comment and tell me. Number 17 is green onions. And you may already know that you can regrow these from store-bought scallions by simply dropping the root ends in a glass of water. And that trick genuinely works. But planting them properly in soil gives you a longer-lasting, more flavorful harvest. Green onions thrive in USDA zones 3 through 9, tolerate partial shade, and grow in just about any type of soil. They are ready to harvest in 3 to 4 weeks, take up almost no space, and need almost no attention whatsoever. Tuck them along the edges of your beds, grow them in small pots on a windowsill, or scatter them throughout the garden as companion plants. Evergreen Hardy White is a dependable variety that overwinters in many climates. Plant them, water occasionally, snip what you need, and move on. That is the full instruction guide. Number 18 is turnips. Fast, easy, and criminally underrated. Sow seeds directly 1/2 inch deep in early spring or late summer, and you can be pulling turnips in as little as 30 to 60 days depending on variety. Purple top white globe is the classic. Tokyo Cross is a fast-maturing, mild-flavored variety that is wonderful raw or lightly cooked. Like beets, turnips offer a 2-for-1 harvest because the greens are just as edible and nutritious as the roots themselves. They grow well in USDA zones 2 through 9, prefer cooler weather, handle partial shade, and actually get sweeter after a light frost. Thin seedlings to 4 inches apart and harvest roots when they reach 2 to 3 inches across. If you have a patch of soil and a packet of seeds, you can grow turnips. Full stop. Number 19 is butternut squash. Now, it does need some space. Give each plant 4 to 6 feet to spread out. But the effort required is surprisingly minimal for what you get back. Direct sow seeds an inch deep in warm soil after your last frost or start indoors 3 to 4 weeks early. Seeds germinate in 7 to 14 days and most varieties mature in 80 to 110 days. Waltham butternut is the standard variety and it is absolutely rock-solid reliable. Once the vines get going, they shade out weeds on their own, handling that chore for you without being asked. Feed once or twice with a balanced fertilizer during the season, watch for squash vine borers, and harvest when the skin is hard and the stem begins to dry and shrivel. One healthy vine produces 5 to 10 squash. They store for months in a cool, dry place, which means one planting from summer carries you well into winter. That is extraordinary value for a single packet of seeds. And number 20. I saved this one for last on purpose because I wanted to close with something that is not just useful, but something that brings genuine joy to the garden. Sunflowers, grown for their edible seeds. Push seeds an inch deep after your last frost in full sun and step back. They germinate in 7 to 10 days and reach full height in 70 to 100 days. Mammoth Russian is the go-to variety for seed production. Drought-tolerant, unfussy about soil, and happy in USDA zones 2 through 11. When the back of the flower head turns brown and the seeds look full and plump, cut the head, hang it upside down to dry, rub out the seeds, roast them with a little salt and olive oil, and enjoy something extraordinary that you grew from absolutely nothing. They also pull pollinators into your garden that every other plant on this list benefits from. A genuinely perfect way to close out a garden season. Now here is the bonus tip I promised you. The one that ties everything together and that experienced gardeners tend to hold close. Mulch. Just lay 3 to 4 inches of straw, shredded leaves, or wood chips around the base of your plants. That is it. And watch how profoundly easier everything becomes. It kills weeds before they even get started. It locks moisture into the soil so you water far less often. And it slowly breaks down over time to feed your garden naturally. Add a soaker hose underneath that mulch and you have basically put the 2 hardest parts of gardening, weeding and watering, almost entirely on autopilot. And that is the real goal here at Casa Verde Diaries. A garden that does more of the work so that you do not have to. Now, here is my challenge to you. Pick just 2 or 3 plants from this list that genuinely excite you and start there. Do not wait for the perfect season. Do not wait until everything is ideal. Confidence in the garden comes from doing, not from planning. Which of these 20 are you going to start with? Tell me in the comments right now. I read every single one and I love hearing from every one of you in our Casa Verde community. If this video added something to your day, please give it a like, share it with a fellow gardener who needs a little encouragement, and if you have not subscribed yet, now is a wonderful time to do that. We are here every week with more of this kind of content, rooted in practical wisdom and genuine love for what grows. Until next time, happy growing friends. Now go put something in the ground.